Back in the 80s and 90s, we were spoiled for choice when it came to an affordable rear-wheel drive two-seater or 2+2 sports car. These days, unfortunately, they're very hard to come by. But of the ones that are remaining, how does the Mazda MX-5 compare against the new Toyota GR86 when they're head-to-head? Let's go for a drive and find out. So first, let's familiarize ourselves with the MX-5, and obviously this particular one that I'm driving right now is not stock, judging by the wheels and that exhaust sound out the back. Now, the shots that I am showing you are mostly from the MX-5 that I drove a couple of years ago, and that one was 100% stock. Anyway, the car itself, it has a 2-liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engine. It produces 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. That is quite a bit less than the Toyota GR86, but this also weighs less than the GR86. It's about 1,100 kilograms with the hardtop. You get the impression that this engine really likes to rev. The peak torque is reached midway through the RPMs, and peak power is pretty much all the way at the red line. In a drag race, the MX-5 would probably get off the line a little bit more quickly than the GR86 because it's lighter. However, over a longer distance, the GR86 will probably catch up to it and overtake it. Obviously, I'm on public roads and I'm not going to do that. But driving fast in a straight line is not what either of these cars were built for. They were built for going quickly around corners and putting a smile on your face. And none of them do it better than this MX-5. As Colin Chapman's famous quote goes, simplify, then add lightness. This is what the Mazda MX-5 embodies. The addition of the hardtop roof does increase the weight over the soft top, but only by about 50 kilos. The lightweight nature of the MX-5 makes it a joy to drive around corners. Steering is very precise and very quick to respond to your inputs. It provides excellent feedback as to what the front tires are doing. The MX-5 responds very well to smooth inputs, but can quickly become twitchy at higher speeds if you toss it into a corner. Thankfully, the back end is very easy to catch if the stock 205 wide tires do let go, and they will let go even with 181 horsepower. Now in the Toyota GR86, this is more of a first drive review of it because I don't have a whole lot of time with this particular demo vehicle. However, I will be getting the GR86 again in the summer of 2022, so make sure you subscribe to check out when that video comes out. And if you are watching this video when it's past summer 2022, I'll leave a link in the description to the new, longer, full review of the GR86. Anyway, the big news with this one is that Toyota listened to the owners and fans of the old GT86 and they gave the car more power. It now has a 2.4-liter flat-4 engine, boxer, and it produces 228 horsepower and 184 pound-feet of torque. That change in power is immediately more noticeable because the car just picks up and goes from 2,000 RPMs right up to the red line. When you're driving on highways, you don't need to downshift. You can leave it in 6th gear and just gently roll on the throttle and you can easily overtake another vehicle. Peak torque is now in the mid RPM range and the peak power is around the 7,000 RPM mark, with the red line being at 7,500 RPMs. And of course, mated to this engine is a 6-speed manual. You can get a 6-speed automatic just like in the Mazda MX-5, but I suspect that most GR86s are going to come with the manual transmission. The 6-speed transmission is not quite as slick shifting as the 6-speed in the Mazda MX-5. Through the first few gears, it feels just a bit more notchy. The 6-speed in the Mazda MX-5 is one of the best out there, with a precise, short, and has a satisfying click as it goes into gear. The clutch pedals in both cars are light with a solid bite point feeling. As for driving around corners, the GR86 feels a little bit more mature than the MX-5. It doesn't feel like as though it wants to slide its tail out quite as much as the MX-5. It feels more neutral. However, midway through a corner, if you stomp on that throttle pedal, it will let go, but you can easily catch the back end. It did receive a stiffer front sway bar and stiffer springs over the previous generation, along with a faster steering rack. The steering is extremely quick and the front end turns immediately. It's like telepathy. However, you do feel the extra weight, almost 200 kilogram difference between this and the RF MX-5. And of course, a little bit bigger difference between the soft top MX-5. Between these two sports cars, the Mazda MX-5, even as an RF, is still the more enjoyable car to drive on a winding road. Sitting inside the Mazda MX-5 now, I realize that I am above average in height. I'm 6'4", and I have an okay amount of space. I mean, my legs are just barely touching up against the dashboard, but every time that I brake, my knee is hitting the dashboard. Even though this seat is as far back as possible, every time I brake, like I said, it's hitting the dashboard, and after a while, it does start to bruise a bit. But in terms of headroom, because the MX-5 is a convertible, obviously plenty of headroom. Even with the top up, I still have just enough headroom. As for the interior itself, it's very typical MX-5. There is absolutely nothing in here to distract you from the job of driving. 7-inch touchscreen that can also be controlled by this rotary knob down here on the center console. Really simple climate controls, heated seats, and that's really all that you need. So very straightforward interior in the Mazda MX-5. Now let's check out the GR86. Now sitting inside the Toyota GR86, and obviously the biggest difference is that I can comfortably fit in it. My knees are pretty close to the dashboard, well, specifically the push button start, but every time that I brake, my knee isn't gonna hit it. And it's the same story with headroom. My hair is not brushing up against the headliner. And I can even move the seat further back. Yeah, by 1 notch, I can move it further back. So it's quite spacious. My only small complaint is with the steering wheel, because it does have tilt and telescopic, but not a whole lot of range of motion. So it would be nice if it came out a little bit more and moved up a little bit more, but minor complaints. As for the rest of the interior, it is very straightforward, just like in the Mazda MX-5, although you do get a larger touchscreen with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, again, just like in the MX-5. The climate controls are super simple and straightforward to use. Your traction and stability control buttons are right here on the center console, right next to the heated seats. And also, the GR86 has a full digital display. In the MX-5, you get analog gauges, and personally, I prefer the analog gauges over the digital display, but that's just personal preference. As for the back seats, well, behind my driving position, nobody's gonna fit back there. But if somebody shorter sat in the front passenger seat, then probably somebody shorter is gonna fit in the back passenger side, although it's still gonna be pretty tight for them. You might as well just drop that backrest and just have more cargo capacity. Speaking of which, guess which one has more of it? The Toyota GR86 has 177 liters of cargo space, while the Mazda MX-5 has 127 liters of space. Of the two, the 2022 Toyota GR86 is the less expensive option. It starts at around $31,500 Canadian, with a fully loaded version costing $36,890 Canadian, excluding paint, accessories, freight, PDI, etc. The 2022 Mazda MX-5 RF starts at $40,300 Canadian, with a fully loaded version costing $44,300 Canadian, again excluding paints, accessories, freight, PDI, and so on. So while you can get a fully loaded GR86 for the starting price of the MX-5 RF, the soft top version though is more competitively priced at $33,300 Canadian to start with. In a fully loaded MX-5 RF, you'll get Napa leather upholstery, heated seats, wireless Apple CarPlay, but unfortunately wired Android Auto, LED headlights, keyless entry and push-button start, backup camera, 7-inch touchscreen with navigation, Bose 9-speaker audio system, and automatic climate control. Arguably, the biggest gadget that you get with the RF MX-5 is the metal folding roof. The top can go up or down in 13 seconds and up to a speed of 10 kilometers an hour. It's just one toggle of a button to raise it or lower it, so anyone can do it. In the GR86, it can be equipped with a larger 8-inch touchscreen with wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto, heated seats, Alcantara and leather upholstery, dual zone climate control, LED headlights, an 8-speaker audio system, and keyless entry with push-button start. So very similarly equipped as the Mazda. As for how these cars looks, well, styling is subjective and beauty is in the eye of the beholder. The MX-5 has been stereotyped as being driven by hairdressers or women, but that's just simply not the case anymore. If you're a guy, there is absolutely no shame in driving a great car like this, with the top up or down. The buttresses on the RF do hamper over-the-shoulder visibility on the left side, but the car does come standard with blind spot sensors, and you shouldn't have any blind zones if you adjust the mirrors correctly. The GR86 retains some styling cues from the original GT86, and I do like that massive duckbill spoiler. Although some have said that the back end is reminiscent of a Subaru. Then again, this car does have a Subaru twin. So in the end, between these two, which one would I personally choose to go home in? Well, I really like the Mazda MX-5. The way that it drives is just unparalleled by any other sports car out there. It genuinely feels like it's connected to you, like it's an extension of your arms and feet. The new GR86 is a big improvement over the old GT86. This new engine has plenty of power and plenty of torque, plus it's still just as practical as the old one. It is heavier than the MX-5, so it doesn't quite feel quite as agile as this one, but it is still a lot of fun to drive. Plus, of course, it is more practical than the MX-5 and it is less expensive than the RF version of the MX-5. So for me personally, I'd pick this. As much as I love the MX-5, I cannot fit in it comfortably, so I'm sticking with this. But that's my opinion. What's yours? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to know more about either of these two little sports cars, I wrote a comparison review of them over on my website. You can find that link in the video description or click on the pop-up banner right up there. And as always, I will see you in the next car or truck, or most likely, it'll probably be an SUV next time. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.